Hi, welcome to Jamaican Cooking 101. As part of our heritage celebration, we are preparing Ackee and Saltfish. Yes, so let me prep the ingredients and we will be right back. Welcome back. While I'm not going to show you how I pick the Ackees, I will show you how to clean up the Ackees. So I'm taking them from the pod and then I am going to take the seeds off and further clean them up. While I'm doing this, I have a pot of water set to boil, right? Now, the Ackee is usually taken from the pods and the seeds are removed. In order to remove the seed, you can simply wring it, and we just say wring off the head, right? So you can wring off the head, or you can use a knife to cut a V right under the base of the seed. So I'm going ahead to remove that red lining from the inside of the Ackee, and if I have just taken the seed off using the wringing method, then I'll cut away that kind of hard bony section right there, so I have it well cleaned. Now we're going to rinse the Ackees before boiling, so if there are any other red pigment, then that will be removed at that time. So here I have it. I've done that quickly. Now I'm going to rinse and place the Ackees in the water, but I can add some salt to it. If you had boiled the saltfish, you could use that water to boil the Ackee. Also, you could add a few grains or berries of pimento here and a sprig of thyme or a hot pepper. You can flavor up this section of the boiling of the Ackees. Now, you'll know that the Ackees are cooked by simply putting a fork through one of the areas. So I think this one is ready. You don't want the Ackee to get too soft. As we say in Jamaica, you don't want it mash out. So you're gonna cook gently. You're not gonna leave the fire on high temperature. Once it starts boiling up, you turn down the flame and you allow it to just take its time and cook through. So now it's time for us to remove this water, and I'll go right ahead, pour that Ackee in the colander. You notice the color is a bit bland now, it's pale, but once you add some room temperature water, it comes up brightly. Yes, I rinse the Ackee with some room temperature water to not only rinse off what it was boiled in, but to bring up the color, and it stops the cooking process because I don't want the Ackee to be too soft. So I have some additional ingredients here, and if you know me, when we have lots of fruits or vegetables in season, I chop and blend and puree and everything and try to preserve. So here I have some chopped frozen scallion and a number of other ingredients, but we'll come back to that. So I am flaking the saltfish. Now when you boil the saltfish, if you put it in some cold water right away, you find that it flakes easily. So go right ahead and flake up that saltfish. You might want to say pick up, whichever way you prefer to say it. But you want to have it deboned. Make sure you take out as many bones as you can. And then you can rinse it again depending on how salty it is. I don't really like the saltfish well shredded. I like to have chunks of it in the Ackee and saltfish. So remember, this is our national dish now, so I'm trying to make a good job of it. So I'm adding some oil to a well-heated pan, and then I'm gonna flavor the oil with some crushed pimento and a sprig of dried thyme. If I were to put the green thyme in at this point, you would find that the oil start propping up and all of that. So I've added some dry thyme. That doesn't mean you can't use the fresh thyme. Alright, so I have some other ingredients here. I was telling you about them earlier on. The sweet pepper, some Scotch bonnet pepper, and some onions and tomatoes. Now some people don't put all of these things in Ackee and Saltfish. It's just onion, scallion, and thyme, and little black pepper. But I want this dish to look real Jamaican, real colorful and vibrant. So I'm putting all of my seasoning in. Alright, so now that I know the oil is well flavored, I'm going in with the seasoning. And I'm going to give that some time to saute. But for me, when I'm doing these types of seasoning, I cover the pot. I want them not only to fry, but I want them to steam up, get a little soft, but still have their color. If you allow them to fry for too long, they're going to lose their color. So let that steam up a bit, and then we are going to give it a good stir. And I am going to be ready to add the flaked saltfish. Now the saltfish is already oh, I have a big piece in there. All right, let me just crush that out. Right, so the saltfish is salty, so I don't usually add any more salt at this point. The ackee was cooked with salt, and the saltfish has some amount of saltiness left in it. But if you rinse out the saltfish too much, be sure to add some salt, because ackee and saltfish must have a little saltiness to it. So notice I've scraped the seasoning to one side and put the ackee in, allow that to cook through for a minute, and then I'm gonna put the seasoning over the ackee now. One like big chef, so I'm just shake the pot. Nobody ask me to flip it, because it's on the ground, it's going to reach. Alright, so I sprinkle a little black pepper in, and if you're not into black pepper, the pimento that we used earlier on is sufficient. All right, so now see what it look like. Whoa, it's ready to serve up. All right, go on like big chef again and give it a good stir. Shake and stir, yes, and then we're ready to start plating. Notice little moisture in there. So that came from the steaming up of the vegetables, because remember the vegetables have some amount of moisture, and when you cover the pot it steam up. So you know, so when you serve this up with some dumpling and sweet potato and piece of fried plantain. Look here man, breakfast nice today. All right, this is the heart of Jamaica. This is our national dish, and in part of celebrating our heritage, I present to you Ackee and Saltfish. If you've never tried this, just try it. This is from Jamaica to the world. Try it and let us know how it turned out for you. You can use the canned version or the fresh version. Thank you so much for watching Jamaican Cooking 101.